ngukakatabe ka mananu kandi katabe ko bwinganiza abo kuba ebintu bingi emivuyo nyingi yakozerwe omu Buruli ekyo kurora aho ba signing saga forms ba agent bataka komere no koma nosanga form esayiningirwe etayijwizemu nosanga form esayiningirwe kandi ahandi ali mu burubu kwawukana nke point ya kitoka itukubazaho nambali kandi tomu yakomeire niwe incumbent tosara kungambira abantu ruwenda nensanju na mwenda abantu bona almost bakaija bakoma kandi tuina video ekwolekya abagent bete ekwolekyangu abantu bibiri actually kande togo akatunga abantu bibiri abiri na mwenda video ro ekwolekya na kande twenyini ali polling station age ya kitoka barugiraho kande timugisa Julius yatunga burana na butano bo bagenda bamukokero nambe ezindi bagamba ngo atungire 10 ana na butano kwijuze kyaba kibakwetaga habukwato jya kungambira abantu batakome mu Buruli yona na mu Uganda yona ngu abantu ruwenda mama nanu nsanju na kinana na mwenda abantu ruwenda nsanju na mwenda bona bakaija bakoma kandi obo kirema ihanura bakoma kande tomu so nikimanyisangu bakahimba bururukaga bakoraki babumuhereza ebintu ebinde byabairo wasanga mbichweka bimu abagent baitu ni bababingaho abagent baitu abamunka njya kwezi cyo kuronka kiruli size za bombo bakabe ma DR form ni bagamba DR form tizikoraki tizikumara nabwire bunu tukusera DR form abantu bayinaki tibayinazo so kyamahano muno kandi cyo busasi ombichweke bimu no sangangu aba making gashuwangu abantu bayizire ba deploying police batandike kutinisiriza abantu batajakoma niba making gashuwangu abantu abamu njya kwezi cyo kuronka katairu kwika saha 5 nubya kuba kibanje kwika saa 5 abantu bakaba mazire abantu bazire kujya saa mukaga gakihoiregeira kandi kitakwikirizibwa saa 4 abantu bagamba halo abantu 13 polling station abantu bakozireke ekyo tikikwolekyangu kakaba karuka manu kandi ko bwinganiza abantu batandika kwatini siriza abantu baitu barua military police batandika kora nyingamba military police we deployed hali akavuyo betu busao kavuyo busao na tinisirize muntu babingire bantu polling station bagambira abantu abaronibo nibo bayinakoma abantu bakingira heru njya kwezi cyo kurora register kwene ekora nkabichweka bimu kebabalizo byakasambya pabidi bichweka nka mieba ina abantu abakugenda mu Rwanda abakomi bai nibo bakomere rero C1 tukantunira register niye mukwija betu baroraga ngonu candidate nanka ina mani of course aba inkambe takorogene na officials ba electoral commission NRM nibagamba ako muteke abantu batayito muteke abantu bisatu mieba mugende muroli mieba ina bakome bakwika Rwanda beta hakaja register abantu bisatu na nkimanyisa abantu bakesensali bayizire koma muntu wabo nibagamba timuli mu register abantu bachura kinu gali mananu kandi nigo amananu genyini tukusaba nka NRM abakandidate ba NRM tukusaba habe okuseruliriza omubintu bino ebyakozerwe ebiteka kwolekya kisane kirungi kya NRM kandi tukusaba president atawe mu nsonga eno na chairperson wa NRM electoral commission omunyo Dr. Tango Doi atawe mu kuseruliriza kunu tulengo amananu gabayireho irregularities zine zabaireho ezokubinga abantu a register ezokuima abantu DR forms ezokusaininga DR forms ebekimpatira ebitakwikirizibwa ezokurangu register bazisaziremu abantu abandi tibakomere baine byabe bakwenda kurabyaho ekyo kikusise kitebe ketu kya NRM no tusabire kuseruriza kubeho kandi nakarukano kasazibwemu abantu basobole kubahereza chance kwekomera abantu abakwetaga abali mananu kandi abo bwinganiza kitalekyo tujja kuforminga tujja kuforminga ensonga endi eraletereza kandi etabe nunga kitebe keitu baraba tatukulirize tuinakulirizibwa kandi tuli hanu tuli ba candidate abayikirizibwe okurangu tutabire mukarukano kirikyo mahano kandi cyo busasi okurangu kandi abantu bakurabye ebintu byabo bitahikire ebikusisira kimwe kitebe nokole kyangwe kitebe tikina mani kandi kina mani ebyo niyo bigambo byangu
with woman MP. When it came to woman MP, they read the register, and only people whose names were in the register were allowed to vote. That is Kitoka polling station. Immediately after voting the woman MP, when they went to the constituency, they disregarded the register and allowed everyone to vote. This can be verified by looking at the scores of the woman MP position at the same polling station as compared to the scores of the constituency MP. But even then, even when they allowed everyone to vote, regardless of whether you are in the register or not, still the winner got 229 votes. And that is Akugiziwe Aled Ronald. At least this is evidenced in the video which is making rounds on social media platforms, where the village registrar, one Kasaija, I'm forgetting the other name.
The other name was Wilson.
Kasaija Wilson. He also doubles as LC2 chairman, something. He's an old man. So he's the one who served as the village registrar. In the video is seen in his own voice, with his own mouth, reading the results for each candidate. Then when he was reading the names of the candidate who won, he didn't even bother to read the name. He simply said, Omwana Waito Murungi. This is the presiding officer who is presumed to be neutral. He reaches on one candidate, he brings in feelings. Omwana Waito Murungi, he doesn't even bother to mention his name. Then he reads 229 votes. There is no any candidate that was nominated called in the names of Omwana Waito Murungi. That's one. But as if that is not enough, the same registrar goes ahead to deviate from what he verbally mentioned or declared. I mean the figure. Then he goes ahead to write on the declaration form a figure totally different from what he mentioned, using his own mouth. So in the declaration form, he converts the 2 into 8 to make it 829 votes in favor of Omwana Waito Murungi. Now, that is not only unfortunate, but it's a criminal case that he committed, which has to be pursued criminally. At least there is an overwhelming evidence. We categorically reject the results that were declared in the aforementioned primary elections and assert that they do not reflect the true will of the NRM voters in Buruli County. I will repeat this. We categorically reject the results that were declared in the aforementioned primary elections and assert that they do not reflect the true will of the NRM voters in Buruli County. We believe the processes employed were deliberately manipulated to favor a predetermined outcome, contrary to the NRM Constitution and electoral guidelines. Our demand: we demand that the relevant NRM party authorities should institute thorough investigation into the conduct of the elections in Buruli County. And a fresh, free and fair primary election must be conducted under enhanced supervision and transparency. Upon confirmation of the irregularities, electoral irregularities that we have pointed out. We also demand for an engagement with the NRM National Chairman and Secretary General to ensure justice and restoration of trust in the party electoral system is restored. In conclusion, we remain loyal members of the National Resistance Movement and committed to its vision and mission. However, our confidence in the internal electoral mechanisms has been deeply shaken. We call upon the party leadership to urgently and decisively address this matter in the interest of unity, justice, and democracy. For God and my country.
Okay.
I can call upon our other colleagues to supplement on what has been.
It's long. Maybe I can use a local language because of that. It's such a long.
After the fact tampering of official documents, when you use more than 1 handwritings on the same form and you use more than 1 pen, pen, it points to something that may not be healthy. 2 handwritings or more than 1 handwritings, it means two individuals writing on the same form, which is supposed to, in this case, entering results, which results are supposed to be entered by one individual, and in this case, an official who was tasked to do that job, in this case, the registrar. So automatically, that form becomes an adulterated form. It becomes invalid. And yet, those forms were passed, were considered. Then we have another point where we had unsigned DR forms indicating non-authentication by presiding officials. By the regulations state that every declaration form, result form, must be duly signed by the presiding officer, in this case, the registrar who presided over an election in that particular polling area, in this case, a village. So when a form goes unsigned, then it becomes very difficult to authenticate that form. You can't tell whether it is valid or invalid, but by mere fact that it's not signed, by a designated official, then it becomes invalid. Another point is blank pre-signed DR forms which were later filled in the absence of agents. For us, the concerns we are raising them basing on the declaration forms that we got, that were presented to us by our agents. The declaration form that is given to every candidate should be a replica of the declaration form which was retained by the electoral commission. So the copy which goes to the electoral commission, whatever content is on the other copy, is to something similar to that. The candidate that was nominated, in this case, the candidate that was nominated and later declared the winner, in this case, Akugiziwe Aled Ronald, was nominated as Akugiziwe Aled Ronald and declared the winner as Akugiziwe Aled Ronald. But there are so many forms which were considered and based on to declare that candidate who were nominated in the names that I have mentioned and declared the winner in the names that I have mentioned, but the DR forms which were based on to declare him the winner are carrying totally different names. Kasojo Kato, Atuoki, Ronald Akugiziwe. The name of the person that was nominated is Akugiziwe Aled Ronald. If the DR form carries Akugiziwe Aled, that's another person. Akugiziwe Aled was never nominated. The person that was nominated was Akugiziwe Aled Ronald. That is why the person they are declaring the winner is Akugiziwe Aled Ronald. So if a form is reading Akugiziwe Aled, that is a person totally different from the one who was nominated, and therefore shouldn't be the basis. That form shouldn't be based on to declare the person who was nominated but never appeared on this DR form. Am I communicating? These are matters of law, and they carry a lot of implications. This doesn't only affect one candidate, it affects all of us. You are going to find a form where they have put Mwetegi Azak. You are going to find a form where they have put Jaze. You are going to find a form where they have put Ateny. You get? But did the Electoral Commission of the NRM here in Masindi put into consideration that aspect when they were tallying and therefore declaring? There was a case of obstruction and intimidation of the polling agents for the candidates, some candidates, denying them their right to witness and verify the tallying. For my case, I had one of my agents assaulted at Kinomi. He's called Andrew. Up to now, he's on medication. He's hospitalized. He was assaulted by a group of supporters suspected to be for the for the person or candidate who was declared the winner. And they seized the materials that he was given to facilitate vote protection in the entire sub-county of Meria. They took away the appointment letters that he was carrying for other agents and also the official tags for the agents. It took the intervention of police to rescue him and also retrieve the appointment letters and the official tags. So cases of intimidation of the agents for the candidates were very much visible, which kept away our agents from doing the job that they had been tasked to do. Creating room for rigging for those ones who were pushing them away. Definitely rendering the whole process not free and fair. And on the same point,
to request the NRM leadership to look into this and the council this result and at least allow us to have a rerun. Because for sure, if it was well known that this would be a selection, then they wouldn't have actually
selected.
This was a more of a selection, not an election. This Kituka saga is what is raising all our eyebrows. Broad the thuggery that can never be allowed in any modern world. Gone are the days when you had no cameras, but this was captured live on camera. The presiding officer at the polling station announced 229 on camera. And then the same guy goes and puts 829 in favor of the same person. How? And then a donation of 100 votes for my brother Julius, who had 45 votes. Maybe we should have added for me, maybe, I don't know. But for sure, this has just been too much. So we are requesting the entire process leading to the declaration of the winner was very, 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 very shrewd. There is no way you can actually deploy military where there is totally no violence. Like, for instance, in my area in Nyakasagazi 1 and 2. A military coaster was parked there permanently to scare away my voters because they knew very well that that is my stronghold. As if that was not enough, all my agents in areas that these people presumed that I would win were bought off and scared away. I supplied appointment letters up to the D-day of election because my agents who had received my appointments were actually bought off the night leading to the day of election, and still I had to fight hard to still deliver appointment letters to new agents, but still those ones were also disorganized.
You may think these people we are just exaggerating. This is the form indicating a total number of 980 people, the registered voters, and those who turned up 979, meaning only 10 people missed the vote. And there is no way in any part of this country where the turn-up was 99% voter turn-up. And this is where the videos they have been talking about circulating, where one of the candidates, the incumbent, voted from. And if you see, you just see here, it is indication you can see, you even take a picture. You can see what they were indicated. They changed here to make sure that they give Mugisa Julius 100 votes. And here they concocted that 8,000 votes. And this is someone who has been, this is an irregularity. So we actually totally reject these results. They are not true reflection of our NRM voters. Actually, NRM people are actually crying. They are saying justice must be done. If not, actually, we call upon Muzei to intervene in this. Chairperson Tango Doi, this should be investigated. There is nowhere you can only talk of that almost all the people turned out to vote. When in other areas only 20 people voted, 50 people voted, and you can see that was pure irregularity. And the information which we have is that they coerced our agents and they made them to sign something which was not true.